Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. Pittsburgh at Iowa this Saturday, and it's going to be Brian's video best bet. You had a nice big winner last week with the video best bet, and just wanted to touch real quick on that from last week. Guys, we tape these on Wednesday. You know, there are going to be line movements, and I'm going to tell you, and you more than anybody, you're going to be on the right side of a line move more often than not. And late on Saturday, steam was coming in on the other side. That line crashed. We had a lot of questions on, Twitter. And, you stand by the pick. Sometimes the lines are going to move against us. And if there's ever an instance where, the play, we don't like it anymore, the great thing about social media and everything and people that follow us, and that's why I tell everybody, follow us on Twitter, we can get that message out there. But, you like the play, and it came in it was a little close in the first half, but, they took care of business in the second half.
Yeah, it worked just the way I handicapped it. They were going to wear them out as the game went on. If I don't care if the line's moving in that situation, I'm sorry I bet it at 17 because I could have laid 14 at the end of the time, but it's already moved beforehand. I knew where it was going down, so it was 20.5 originally. So if I can lay 14 on a game I liked at 17, of course I'm going to continue to like it.
Absolutely. This game on Saturday, my Pitt Panthers going to Iowa. We got two teams that are 2-0. Are they contenders or pretenders? We've got, they really haven't played anybody yet. Pitt, as they do so often, they open the season playing teams in the neighboring states of Ohio, either a MAC team or Youngstown State in this case in the first week of the season. And these smaller schools really get up for playing Pitt because, a lot of the kids on those rosters are kids that didn't get recruited by Pitt. They can be Western Pennsylvania kids, Ohio guys, and so whenever you play the team that said you weren't good enough to play with them, you're gonna rise to the occasion. And too often than not, the bigger program is looking down the road to a bigger game or working in new things. And in this instance for Pitt, they got a new coach come in, and coaches have not been good to Pitt the last. Seriously, you go back 10. It seems like forever, but it started when they got rid of Wannstedt. Then they hired somebody, and I even forget his name now. But then something came out about his past that was a little bit questionable, and Pitt, wanted to remove themselves from that situation. So they rescinded the offer, and then they went out and got Todd Graham, and he was here for a cup of coffee and moved on to, greener pastures in Arizona State. And then we got, which I liked Paul Chryst come in from Wisconsin. It was going to be smash mouth football here at Pittsburgh. He was there for a couple of years. Wisconsin come back knocking once. He told them no, he was staying at Pitt. But then the second time when they came knocking, when they lost their coach last year, he bolted back to Wisconsin for bigger and better things. So that's not good for a program to keep changing, coaches like that in schemes.
No, and a lot of times you change coaches because they're not doing the job. Well, these guys are people who want them, so that's a good thing. And you see that a lot in the MAC. The cradle of coaches in the MAC. But you talked about Pitt in the first two games. Nobody thinks much of Akron and Youngstown State, but I'll tell you, Youngstown State is a team I'm looking to make some money on because this is a team with terrific coaching staff, and as you pointed out, Youngstown State used to be a real power. They have the ability to draw people in there, and they've got the former Nebraska coach. They've got a lot of talent at Youngstown State. That's a good football team. Akron's defense is really good. We saw it last week. Akron played Oklahoma. Yeah, they got blown out, but Oklahoma couldn't run on them. Pitt couldn't run on them last week. This Akron team, they're having some quarterback issues right now, but they're a very good defensive team. So Pitt is actually better than what they have shown by looking at the scores and the teams that they've been playing.
Hey, this is your video best bet, so I'm going to go ahead and hammer it home for me why you like Pitt in this one.
Yeah, I like Pitt in this one. You take a look at their new coach, Pat Narduzzi, the defensive coordinator at Michigan State. He knows Iowa. Iowa's a team, I talked about it in the previous video about the St. Louis Rams. Iowa's a team I love in the underdog role. I do not like them laying points. And we're looking at a team here that opposing coach knows very well. You take a look, I just talked about the two games that Pitt has played. Take a look what Iowa did last week. They played an Iowa State team, their big rival in state, an Iowa State team who I happen to think is down this year, and they really struggled in that game. They were lucky to pull that game out late, much closer than what the final score was. Cyclones are down this year, so I don't really think Iowa is so great this year. You mentioned 2-0, but this is a team right now that I think is a bit overrated. Pitt is a team, you know, I saw earlier today some money trickling in on Pitt. It was at a dead number of 5.5. It wouldn't surprise me if this ends up at 4. I like Pitt Panthers in this game.
All right, I'm just going to add one thing, and the only thing that scares me with Pitt is last week was the first game without their do-it-all running back. I mean, this guy was basically the offense for Pitt, James Conner, and he got hurt in week 1, out for the season. And as we talk so often about the injured player theory, teams seem to rise to the occasion that first week without the star player. Then the question is, when they get the job done that first week, do they have that same intensity the next week? This is a big game for Pitt. It's, you know, the first real test of the season and going out on the road to play, you know, at Iowa. They're going to be focused for the game, and as you said, with Narduzzi going back to Big Ten country, you know he wants to make a good showing. So I agree with you with Pitt, but that's the only bad thing that I can say about Pitt in this game is it's the second game without the running back. And Brian, you've got a big game going on Saturday. I want the listeners to take advantage of it. Brian's got a 5% play. It's his non-conference game of the month on Saturday, college football. He nailed it on Sunday with his NFL game of the month, the Jets, easy winner.
Easy one.
We want him to be all that way. I'm getting too old to sweat games. So I like that when you guys get those blowout wins home. Check them out on Saturday. And, of course, if you want to save $10, if you saw our earlier videos, we had special guest Kelly Stewart in studio today. And we're going to offer $10 off any selection this weekend at wagertalk.com. Just enter coupon code Kelly and the number 10, you'll get $10 off at checkout. Be sure to check out all of our other videos for this weekend's games at wagertalk.com.